right, ran a batch of these guys. These took 3 hours and 57 minutes for 15 of these little heads. Look how easy they separate. Let's see if this, so easy. I mean, that is so awesome. I'm gonna print a bunch of these and give them away at LA Comic-Con. Hey guys, welcome back. All right, it's been a little while, but I got my hands on a Bambu Lab H2S 3D printer. This is not sponsored. I paid for this with my own money. And I just want to give my first impressions and go through the unboxing and the setup, just can kind of get an idea of what it is like. It's overall pretty easy. Plus, take a look at some of the prints that have come off this thing. I basically have only been printing in PLA so far. I do have a couple rolls of PETG up here, which I'll be running through soon. I've got back here stacks of partial rolls of filament, so I'll be doing a lot of tests with TPU, PETG. I have some polycarbonate over here, which is a more high temperature kind of filament. And I just ordered a few rolls of ABS and ASA, which are both materials I really like, but none of my other printers have proper enclosures. So they were really finicky to print. And apparently this machine will print ABS and ASA really, really great. As far as the unboxing, everything was really packed securely. The box was handled a little bit roughly. I actually watched the guy deliver it and he flipped the box upside down. I was like, oh, that's good. It's very, very securely packed. Nothing was broken. Everything works perfectly, which, you know, I'm assuming these things are going all over the place, so they packed them really well, but still, there's all kinds of warnings on the box. Glass, fragile, this side up. And I could see just in my Ring video that none of those things were paid any attention to, just right in front of my house. So who knows how it got there in the truck and everything. The printer itself is pretty heavy. The packing slip, when I went online and the FedEx shipping label said it was 91 pounds, which I don't think it was. It's probably in the 70-ish pound range, but it's pretty heavy. So if you're gonna move it, I'd recommend having another person. The basic setup was super easy. Besides, take out some screws to remove the lockdown components to hold everything together for shipping. I didn't really have to do anything to set up. If you build anything, it was very easy. Just follow the instructions and just make sure everything's hooked up and you run the calibration. The only thing I really had a problem with is that there were several pieces of foam that were kind of up at the top inside that I didn't see initially. Now on the sheet that shows where to take everything out, I thought I got everything because there's foam kind of everywhere. There's a couple pieces that are under the print bed. You're not supposed to take them out until after calibration. But when I went to calibrate, the bed went up to the top and at some point it had an error. And I was like, what the heck is going on? It's a brand new printer. And I realized there's a chunk of foam stuck in the back, like a little piece of packing foam. So I got that out. And I was like, cool, ready to go. Hit go, moving around, goes a little further, error again. It's like, oh man. Turned out there's another little piece of foam way up here up on one of these little guides. And they did again. Another piece, three times it happened. But once I got everything out, we were good. Now, I did see on the instructions that there was foam, but the way it's drawn is from the top down. And I was looking at the bottom down here for these foam pieces. And I was like, oh, I must have taken them out because there's, you know, tons of little chunks of foam just everywhere inside, just stuffing everything in so it doesn't go anywhere. Lots of screws that hold everything down. So the bed is literally screwed down. The AMS is screwed to a thing that's stuck inside. Now, one of the first things that stood out is the size of this thing. I had an idea that it was going to be decent size. It's not as big as my Creality. I have a CRM4, which is the last printer I bought. I actually was going to do a review on that. I'll do that in another video. It's really big. I've had it for about a year and a half. That printer deserves its own video, but it's very well built. It has a couple issues. I'll get into it, but it's big. And then I have my CR10 S5, which is my biggest printer at 500 by 500 by 500. The M4 is just a little bit smaller, but it's really close to the same size. So this printer is not as big as those, but it's a lot bigger than like my Prusa back here, which has been one of my more quality FDM printers. So I was trying to hit this mark where I needed a little bit better quality, faster, more updated printer because it's been forever since I bought a printer for myself. So I just bit the bullet and did this thing. And so far I couldn't be any happier with it. It's so good. It's prints so fast, and you can see it zipping around the back. It's very quiet. Like you can hear the big fast moves a little bit. I don't know how it comes up on camera, but you can hear them a little bit. Overall, it's way quieter than all my other printers, way quieter. And it has in the calibration, there's a long portion of the calibration where it's literally measuring the sound levels and making adjustments to the way the motors run to quiet them down. It makes a counteracting vibration that offsets the noise of the motors, apparently. And it works. You can hear it as it's going through. When it first starts, it's a little louder. And every time it repeats the things, it gets quieter and quieter and quieter. It's really neat. As you can see in here, I'm making a bunch of little me's that I'm going to give out at Comic-Con tomorrow. There is a camera on the inside up here in this corner that looks down, and you can record time lapse. Plus, I can monitor my print from my phone. So if I'm out somewhere, I can check on the print, make sure it's doing well. I can check on it from the computer, control the printer remotely, which is very good. I'm not used to having a printer that's so user-friendly and you just hit go and it just does it. I haven't had to do anything to print beds. Everything prints great. Everything stays on the print bed really nice. It's been awesome. Now, the print detail is really, really good. It looks almost as good as a resin print. Now, a resin print is a little cleaner, but for costume pieces in particular, where I prefer the strength of some of these other filaments over a resin print, it is very, very close to needing just primer. There's some of these prints have come off and I'm like, I could probably just put primer on this and not really have to do much sanding or cleanup to get rid of any print lines. Print lines are almost non-existent. And of course, like I've done with all my other printers, I printed a do-back, which I have a file from working with Regal Robot. Regal Robot years ago did a big do-back sofa for Star Wars Celebration in Florida, Chicago. It was a long time ago. And we milled the do-back head out of foam. I think now they have some do-back magnets, but they're scanned from one of the real do-back props. And it's printed completely hollow, 2-layer wall stick, just a quick kind of thing. You can see the detail is super good. Barely see a print line, barely. And I actually noticed that the print lines show up a little better in camera than they do in person. So when you're standing there looking at it, if I put down 1 layer of primer, wouldn't see print lines. They wouldn't be there. And you can see all the scale detail. It just looks fantastic. And it printed fast. So I feel like after I got this and like 2 prints in, I'm like, I don't know how often I'm gonna use any of my other printers. I have all these other printers that I'm probably gonna start phasing out. I would love to get 2 or 3 more of these and just get rid of my other printers and just keep the 2 big printers just in case I need something big. But I feel like this printer is gonna replace my smaller printers and probably 80% of what I do on the bigger printers, because this is a decent volume. I could print a whole helmet on here. I could probably print like a front torso piece if I angle it really, really specifically, carefully. Prints that I was doing on my CRM4 with a 0.8mm nozzle, this prints just as fast at a tighter layer height, so 0.2mm layer height versus 0.3mm layer height. Multi-pass layer walls, 2-layer walls thick, way better detail, beautiful prints, almost as fast, if not faster, than my big printer with a 0.8mm nozzle. So, this isn't quite big enough to print some of the larger armor pieces and so forth, but since I can print in ABS, I can do acetone welding for some of these parts, which, you know, essentially fuses the plastic together, which is almost as good as printing the whole thing. And last night, right before I went to bed, I threw this on the printer. It is a large version of those little zombie heads I was printing earlier, so we could just see a full-size print in here. So let's open this up and look. Da-da-da. This is me as a zombie version. It is full scale, so I brought it down to roughly here, I'm guessing. You can see, kind of cut it right before it tips over my shoulders, and I angled it so that the edges of the shoulders would fit diagonally across the print bed, so I could get kind of a sense of how much I could fit. And then in the software, I sliced it from top to bottom with maybe a centimeter to spare at the top. It's almost the full print area, so you can see the scale. So like a human head, mine, almost a full set of shoulders. So I could almost print a chest piece in here for a costume, almost in one shot. Maybe if I angled it a certain way, I could print a front and a back of like a C-3PO torso. I have to experiment a little bit. Anyway, this is it. Let's take a closer look. The print is beautiful. And I took some video earlier to show this is just 2 print walls thick. It's very, very thin. So it's like 0.8 millimeter thick print, no infill. However, Bambu Slicer, like the Prusa Slicer, has the thing where it does the bridging supports. So there's no support material, but then if it has a little overhang on the inside, it'll make these long bridges that will catch that overhang without printing a massive amount of support material. It saves literally like a day of printing, which is fantastic, and probably a whole roll of material worth of filament, which is really, really nice. And you can see I used the tree supports. Now, I've printed this same head before on my CRM4, but I printed basically like from the neck up. I didn't print so much of the shoulders. That print was almost 10 hours, 1 layer wall, hollow, same as this. And I only did supports up to the chin and maybe a little bit to the mouth. So I didn't do all the supports here, but this is what Bambu Lab Slicer generated. I almost blocked them from forming up here because I think I could get away without it. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it like the Bambu Lab Slicer says, just to see. And this whole print was basically, I think overall it was about 12 hours, but there was a stop here. You see it says 10 hours. It's 10 hours and 60 minutes, 11 hours. But partway through, I started to print. It got to about, I don't know, about here, not very far. And I ran out of my 1 roll of filament. And I have, in the AMS, I had 2 rolls of PLA and 2 rolls of PETG. I knew that when the 1 roll of PLA ran out, it would automatically switch to the other one. It's part of what it does. Well, when it did its switch, it ran through the first roll, queued up the second roll, just like it's supposed to. And I got an error. And the error said extrusion overload. Extrusion overload, I believe, is what the error was. And I couldn't figure out what it was. Now, because this is an enclosed printer, it's not like any of my other printers where I could just come in here and grab onto the print head and just pull the filament out or do whatever. The print head is way in the back. It's a totally different setup. I've never used one of these multi-material setups. So I'm just like, I don't know what to do. It's not printing and it's having some issue, like maybe there's a clog or something. And so I looked at it and I would hit go just to see what would happen. It would queue up like it was normal. And I did it a few times. And then I realized that what was happening is that when it would go to start, when it pauses, the extruder cools down. And the extruder temperature would start to come up like it was going to get ready to print. But it would start to try to print before the extruder was hot enough to print the filament. And I don't know if that's something I did when I was doing a slicing or something I did when I set up the AMS. If I set something wrong, that could be some problem. But once I realized that, I just manually turned the temperature of the extruder up to 220, and I just did a little manual extrusion just through here, and it worked fine. And once I did that, hit go, everything was fine. Everything was fine. So it turned out that it just wasn't coming back up to temperature enough to run the new filament when it did the swap for some reason. Probably something I did wrong, most likely. I mean, the machine runs great, so it was a weird little hiccup, but you know, no deal breaker by a long shot. Okay, I'm back with a quick note. I did test the AMS again with a bunch of random rolls of filament, all PLA filament, very low quantities on the spool. Had a bunch of them, just partial spools. And I filled it up, all different manufacturers, different colors. I stuck them in a row, and I told the AMS controller that they're all the same so that it wouldn't try to ignore one or the other. And hit print, let it print a bed full of stuff, and it worked perfectly. It went right through each roll. What's really nice is it actually uses up the end of the roll. It just uses the rest of the roll, and there's no leftover. You take the roll out, the spool, and there's nothing left. And I've saved all these from my other printers because I can't justify using them, but I can throw them in here. It'll just eat through the stuff. But it worked perfectly. That was just a note. It did whatever I did wrong the first time. I don't know. I must have told it something weird. Maybe I put like 2 different types of filament here. I don't know what I did, but worked perfectly this time. So I just wanted to follow that up so that you weren't scared. Like, oh my gosh, maybe the AMS isn't going to work. Works great. Works really great. All right, I'm back to it. I mean, overall, print came out great. There are some little lines here and here, you can see. And what these are, this is the bridging material on the inside. it creates the bridge as support material. And what I think is happening is that bridge is created, and then as it cools, it draws the outer surface in just a little bit. And you can barely feel this, but the light is very dramatic in here, so it makes it more noticeable. There's a handful of these around, and every single one of them lines up perfectly with one of those supports inside. So I'm blaming that. But overall, the detail is really great. I'm going to pop this out of here in a second, and we'll take a look at it. But I wanted to show it while I was in the printer so you can kind of get an idea of the actual print size. Again, this is literally scaled to me. I've sculpted in my face and stuff, but it is my size exactly. But yeah, you can see print volume, pretty cool. All right, here we are with the support material removed, and there's like basically almost nothing left over from the supports. There's a tiny little booger right there, but I could probably just remove that with my fingers. I mean, the ears had support all through there, no marks. On the teeth, down in the mouth, under the brow, that's the only one. I really think I could pop that off with my finger. Let me see here. Oh yeah, wasn't even really attached, it's sort of loose. So impressive, so impressive. Fantastic job, Bambu Lab. Really amazing. Look at that, look at that. But anyway, I just wanted to show this really quick. I don't want to make this video too long because I'm going to be doing other videos to talk about different materials and so forth in here. And it's going to probably show up in a lot of my videos as I make things in the future, hopefully, if everything goes well. But overall, my first impressions are really, really positive. I have a ton of stuff I started from my Patreon page, which I'm really excited to have this printer because it's inspiring, because a lot of stuff I'm going to print, it just saves me a lot of cleanup, I could print ABS, like I said before. So some of my projects that I've been slowly working on, I'm very, very motivated to push forward now. If you're curious about anything specific on this printer, just comment below, let me know. And if I can, I'll try to integrate it into the next video, or I'll try to respond to your comments here. But yeah, I'm very excited. Bambu Lab H2S printer, not sponsored. This thing's awesome so far. Having a printer that works this great right out of the box is like a breath of fresh air. Even some of my other printers that are highly reliable, like my Prusa, I don't know how often I'm going to use that when this thing is so fast and so good. It's a game changer for me, for sure. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. I will talk to you kids soon. Later.